So in this video, we'll be solving missing a point problem from the July Challenge 2020. So the chef has n-axis parallel rectangles in a 2D Cartesian coordinate system, and these rectangles may intersect, but it's guaranteed that all their 4n vertices are pairwise distinct. What that means is we have something like this. We have a bunch of rectangles with us, and they have given us the coordinates of those rectangles. So these are the points which have been given to us. And this is how these points are plotted, and one of these points is missing. So the first after the number of test cases we get 2. That means there are 2 rectangles, and 2 rectangles meaning there are going to be 8 points. So in these 8 points they have not given us one of the points, so our job is to find that one point which is missing. So that's what unfortunately Chef lost one vertex, and up till now none of his fixes have worked. Okay, so he gave you the task of finding it. You are given the remaining 4n minus 1 points. So if there are 2 rectangles, that is 4 into 2, which is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. So you're given 7 points, and you should find that missing point. Okay, so this is the first test case which you are given, and we can see that this is the point which is missing right here. 2. So the answer to this is supposed to be 2 2, because that's what's missing, right? Now for a second, let's say that this point is already with us. Let's say we have this point, so I'm going to draw that with a green dot right here. So let's say we already have this point. So what observation can you make? Okay, let's look at this rectangle. We have a y of 2, and we have 2 points on y which have a y-axis of 2, and similarly for the x-axis, this is 1. So we have 2 points which are 1, and also on the y-axis we have 2 points which are 1, and the same thing for this rectangle. So we have 6, and we have 2 points which have a y of 6, and similarly this 3. So we have 2 points which have a y of 3. Okay, so now let's try to observe what's happening over here by taking the x coordinates and y coordinates. And let me just take the count of how many x coordinates are there with a particular number. So let's just look at the x coordinates for a second, and let's see how many ones are there in the x coordinates alone. Let's see how many ones do we have in the x coordinate alone. So we have 2 ones with us. Okay, so this is the count. This is the key. So we have, how many 4s do we have? We have 2 4s with us as well. Okay. How many 9s do we have? We have 2 9s. And we also have, what else? 1 4 9, and we have 2 2s with us. Okay, now let's go to the y side. Now just looking at the y, how many 1s do we have on the y side? We have 2 1s. How many 2s do we have on the y side? We have 2 2s with us. Okay. How many 6s? We have 2 6 with us. So we have 2 6s, and we have 3s. We have 2 3s, right? So just by looking at this, we can see that the number of occurrences of each point for each of these x or y coordinates, we can see that they are even. They are all even points. Now let's say if I remove 2 2, so now we don't have this single point right here. Now what happens? What happens to the count, right? We lose a 2. So we have only 1 2 in the x coordinates, and we have only 1 y in the x coordinates. It shows an imbalance, right? So we can come down and say, okay, see, we are missing 1 2 because it's not even, and we are missing 1 y because the y's count is not even. So what if we have more triangles on the same line? Or first, let's see, what if now let me remove some other point. Let's say we have this 2 2. Let's say we have this 2 2, and let me remove something else. Let's say if I remove 9 and 6. Now what happens to the frequency of the 9s in the x part? So now we have only 1 9 here, and we have only 1 6 here, and if we try to count the frequencies of the x and the y, we see that there is only 1 9 and there is 1 6, so which is odd. There's an imbalance. So which is exactly the coordinates which these are exactly the coordinates which we are missing, right? Okay, let's draw another rectangle. So let's draw another rectangle like this. Okay, so if I draw another rectangle like this, we have 2 more 4s. Okay, now let that be our rectangle. Now let's see what happens to the counts. So we have, what point is this? We have 4 and 4, and then we have 4 and 2, and then we have 9 and 4, and we have 9 and 2. Now let's update the counts. We have we already have 2 4s, and then we have 2 more 4s. So now this is 4, and we have 2 more 9s. This was updated from the previous one. Now we have 2 more 9s, so we have 4 4. Right, so we have 4 9s over here, 1 2 3 4 9s over here, and now let's go to the y side. On the y side we have 1 4, we have 2 4s, and then we have 2 2s. We already had 2, so now this becomes 4, right? So this is the situation right now. Okay, everything is even. All the number of occurrences are all even, right? Now let me try removing something. If I remove a 4 and a 4 from both these positions, now this becomes 3 and this becomes 1, right? And I can just loop through these maps and see which value is odd, and the corresponding key is going to be my answer. That's the guy which is missing. So if I remove something else, let's just try removing something else, and let me bring back that 9 and let me bring that back 4 and 4, 4 and 4, some different number. If I remove 9, let's say, okay, let's say I remove 4 and 6. So I lost a 4 and I lost a 6. So the count decreases, right? So which is again odd. So I can loop down and say, okay, this is what's missing. In my x, this guy is odd, so this is what's missing. And in my y, this is what's missing. And I just go out and I can print that. And we know that no points are going to be on the same, they're not going to coincide right on top of each other. So if I just keep on making more triangles, you can see that I'm always making 2 points on one of the axes, right? So I'm always going to have an even number of occurrences of the coordinates of x and the coordinates of y, just like this. And if one is missing, then that position is going to be odd. It has to be odd. So that's what we're going to search for, and the code is also really simple. So you get the test cases, get the value of n, the number of rectangles, and we're going to know that it's going to be -1. So if there are 2 rectangles, then it's going to be 7 points which we are going to get with us. And we have a map which is for the x. We have a map which is for the x, and we have a map which is for the y, for this one, and this for the y. And we're just going to get the inputs, c and x, c and y, and as we get the inputs, we're going to increase their frequencies. The x map of x plus x map of y plus, just incrementing the frequencies in our map. This is the key, and for this particular key, we're increasing the value by 1 as we get to it. So that's what plus does. And then after we get all of the values into our map, then we have another for loop which is going to iterate. This for loop is going to iterate through the x map. So from x map dot begin, it's going to start from here, and it's going to go through the map, and it's going to see if the iterator second, which is it's going to look at all these values, this column, and it's going to see if there's a number which is odd. And if we find a number which is odd, then that's going to be the guy who we have to print. So this is the first. We're going to print that, and we're going to break, because just 1 point is missing. So as soon as we find something which is odd, we're just going to break. And then we're going to do the same for the y map. We're going to iterate through the y map. We find something odd, we're going to print the corresponding key of it, and then we're going to break. And that's the end of the test case. You just print the end of the line, and that's it for this question. Thanks for watching.